tell you that you must do business with this person, even though your basic religious beliefs tell you not to. And we allow it. We let it go. That's why Casey and I are sick. That's why we're sick of all of this. That's why I hadn't been able to do a show since October the 7th, because I am sick to death of all the cowardice. Sometimes it feels like Casey and I are the last of the Mohicans. When I know that that's not true.
No, it's
but
not.
Where are the other voices? How are these things going? How are these things coming to pass? If we're not alone, if we truly have the numbers, then how are these things happening? How is good evil and evil good? How did that happen?
Well, I know that we're probably approaching the end of our
Pretty
rainbow.
Close.
So we probably better start approaching the answer to these problems, because we're not going to come on the air and scream at you without telling you what can be done to fix this. Because see, the thing is, one reason why we're sick is for over a year now, we've been coming to y'all and we've been quoting 2 Chronicles chapter 7 verse 14 to you about praying.
Mm-hmm.
I know that some of our listeners actually do. Some of them do get down on their knees and pray for the country, but not enough of them. Or they're not telling other people that this is the answer. They get on Facebook, and instead of telling people what the answer is, they fight with them. They fight with them the wrong way.
Yeah.
They fight with them with words and with calling them names and you know, doing the whole goody-goody on you isn't going to win this fight for us. We've told y'all the real fight, the fight for the soul of this country, for the immortal soul of all the people in this country, it's not going to be won in a voting booth.
Nope.
It's not going to be won from the base from the grassroots of a political party.
Nope.
It's not going to be won by telling the people that you disagree with that they're wrong, that they're going to burn in hell, that they, that they're worse than Ebola, that they're
sinners.
If let's break down that 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people, which are called by my name, it wasn't too long ago that I told all of y'all that if you're not a Christian, you're useless to us in this fight. I stand by that.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have that personal relationship with Jesus Christ, then you're not. Who are you praying to? You can't pray to the almighty dollar. It will not hear your prayers.
No. Can't pray to Obama.
You can't pray to Obama. You can't pray to Reince Priebus.
Nope.
You can't
pray to Bill O'Reilly.
You can't pray to John Boehner.
Can't even pray to Glenn Beck.
No,
He'll tell you that.
They won't hear your prayers. Then if they did, there's nothing they could do about it. But if my people, if Christians, what's the next part of that, Barney?
Will humble themselves and pray.
See, if you want to be brave, because we've been talking about cowardice, now let's talk about courage.
Oh, it takes courage.
Let's talk about what it really takes courage to do. If you've ever got caught telling an off-color joke or a joke about, say, somebody who's disabled, and you've turned around and then there's somebody who's disabled standing right behind you,
mm-hmm.
and you knew that you hurt their feelings,
mm-hmm.
and you had to apologize to that person. It took some nerve
That's
to do
courage.
that instead of running away. If
mm-hmm.
you've ever had to eat your own words if you've ever been wrong in an argument, you know that it takes just about all you've got, for most of us anyway, to go and admit that we're wrong and say we're sorry.
I'm sorry.
Because in order to do that, you have to humble yourself. You have to realize, hey, I'm not right about everything.
That also means that you have to humble yourself enough to pray, because it says humble yourself and pray.
And pray.
See, we've been talking about the cowardice that it takes to not stand firm for your convictions. If you won't have the courage to stand at a football game, that video we were talking about, the band joined hands, the football players joined hands with them on the field. They made this big circle around the football field. People came down from the stands to join in. And all you could hear was the Lord's Prayer. See, that is courage, because they were under fire for doing that very thing. It took courage to do that. It takes courage in this day and age. I never thought I would say this, man. But it takes courage if you are a Christian. If you are a people that call yourself a Christian, it will take courage to humble yourselves in front of people who aren't Christians and pray. It will take courage to humble yourself when you know that someone is doing something that goes against your Christian values. It would take courage to humble yourself and not condemn them.
But pray for them.
But pray for them. And you don't even have to look them in the eye and go, I'm going to pray for you because you're a sinner. Because got news for you. We're all sinners. See, that's one thing that people forget about our Bible. One thing it's pretty explicit about. There's even a whole verse dedicated to it that says, For all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. All. That means all of us.
So, humble yourselves
and pray. And the next part is, and seek my face.
Meaning seek the face of God. If we actually take the time and put the effort in. When you talk about, that's a good, Old Testament expression, seek my face, seek the face of God.
Try to get in touch with your Creator.
Yeah, it means to try to find out what God actually wants.
Realize how small you are and that it took a Creator to make you.
And that it's better to do what your Creator wants than what you want. So it takes a little bit of courage to get to that point. But it also will keep you so busy that you won't have time to go to your Democrat friends.
You won't have time to worry about that splinter in your neighbor's eye.
Yeah. You won't be pointing out how much you think homosexuals are sinning versus what you do.
Well, well, there's more of that verse, though. Because that next part takes courage, too. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face, and here comes the other part, and turn from your wicked ways.
See,
that whole calling good evil and evil good thing, that's wicked.
That means that when somebody that you know says, hey, let's go see that movie about Moses, when you already know that Hollywood is not going to turn it into a biblical story, and that if you go there, you're going to spend your money on that movie.
You're financing blasphemy.
Yes, you're going to finance the godless efforts in hot. Now, it's one thing to feed hungry people who don't know God, and it's quite another thing to give your money to finance the endeavors of people who want to stamp out Christianity.
Or like when you go to buy music. You really want to buy music that glorifies killing and rape or Well,
selling dope.
just premarital sex in general and selling dope. I mean, that's evil. That's wicked. You really want your kids listening? You think it don't take courage to tell your child, no, I ain't buying you that video game. No, you're not going to listen to that under my roof. You think that don't take courage? You think it don't take courage to tell your kid, no, you can't dress like a gangbanger?
Or here's another one. Halloween's coming up. This means that if you call yourself a Christian and you're going to actually turn from your wicked ways, this means you can't dress up like the slutty Girl Scout.
Well,
I know it's humorous. I know it's funny. But you know it's wicked.
Funny.
And you know it's wrong.
It ain't funny to God.
No.
God calls that wicked ways. And you know, the Bible's pretty, even in the Old Testament and the New Testament, something that they've got in common. They both say, woe unto them that call good evil and evil good. That's something that Christians and Jews have in common.
And agree with.
And agree with wholeheartedly.
So, you know, turning from your wicked ways.
This is where the verse gets good.
Yeah. So, after that, it's if. This is a statement of actions and consequences. But instead of being one of those, if you do this, I'm going to tear you up, this is one of those, if you do these things.
If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, it's the best part.
I will hear from heaven.
I will forgive their sins.
And I will heal their land.
Which is what we all want, man.
If you want a country where you can go and pray at your high school football games and be a Christian out in public, if you want the kind of country, again, where you can go into business and do your own business and not be paying 75% of your money back to Uncle Sam, if you want to get the bums out of Washington,
that's where you start, on your knees, humbled.
Because you're not going to achieve it with anger. You're not going to achieve it with hatred or with fear or any of these things that this world tells you you have to do. You're not going to get it by sharing this post on Facebook. It's not going to come to you that way.
It's going to take courage, though.
It's going to take courage, and it's going to take prayer. And once again, here we are at the end of our show. We're not just asking you, folks. We're begging. We're begging you to hear what we've said. To get here at the end of this show, go back to 2 Chronicles chapter 7:14. Please, y'all, humble yourselves and pray. Some of you, our listeners, they're really not that wicked people. We know that y'all that are hearing this, y'all aren't the wicked ones that we're talking about. We know you're decent folks. But you got some things that you could change.
We all do.
You know, I do.
I'm working on it every day.
But humble yourselves and pray and try to get somebody else to do the same thing.
And with that, we're going to leave you.
Until Thursday.
Until Thursday. And you know what we're going to do tonight? We're going to pray.
We're going to pray. We're going to pray for y'all. We're going to pray for ourselves. We're going to pray. We're going to pray for ISIS.
Yep.
We're going to pray for Barack and Michelle.
Yep. And Hillary and everybody else that we vehemently disagree with. I'm going to pray for all of those people on my Facebook list that think it's funny to make fun of us for our religious convictions or for our relationship with God. And until Thursday, we'll see y'all later. And me and Casey is going to be praying for you. Good night, y'all.
Good night, y'all.